All right, good morning, everybody. David Anderson here, joining you from Spa. We are in the middle of round one of the 2024 Porsche Cup Series. Really excited about this series. Apologies for coming on the air a little bit late here today. We had a little bit of technical difficulty getting started, but here nonetheless, and excited to be here and excited to bring this series to you and these races to you as usual. Should be really fun and have a lot to talk about with respect to the series, and we'll kind of get into all of that as we get going here. Still kind of fighting through a little bit of the technical difficulty, but we're just about in a position where we can focus just on what's going on the track. All right, I believe we are finally in a position to where we can talk about what's going on here in totality. So, all right, just to give you a quick update, we are in round one of the first two rounds in Porsche Cup 2024. Paul Darling is out front, car number 55. We're riding along with Paul now. Beautiful livery that he has, and the way this is going to work is we'll have, at each track that we visit, we're going to have two rounds. We're going to have a 15-minute race followed by a 45-minute race. And both races count for points. A little bit less points in the first race than the second race, but still nonetheless really important. The drivers are not qualifying for these races. They're lining up by default rules within iRacing, which I believe will use their iRating for lining up here. So everybody out on the grid, and we will actually, based on their performance, is the way they'll line up in round two, I should say. So just in round one is the one that they line up for via the default iRacing gridding rules. But going to be a really fun series brought to you by our iRacing Team Endurance Series. This is our official support series. Got about 11 or 12 guys here this week for race 1 and 2 at Spa, and a little bit of a conflict this week, which we expected. We're butting up with the 24 Hours of Daytona in real life, but that's okay. We're still expecting just a really terrific series. A really good battle going on here for second place in this first race. We got Chad Ensign, Michael Parker, defending series champion Michael Parker, trying to run down Chad here just behind him. Let's see if we can't ride along with Michael and kind of watch this for a little bit. It's right up on him, but can't quite make a move yet. Michael, very patient driver. Had a dominant season last season in this series. Just going to continue to ride here with him for a minute and kind of watch this play out. Michael very smooth on the inputs. A little bit of loose feeling there as he went around that corner. bit of a struggle there. Michael under pressure here now from Afonso Suelto. This is Afonso looking like he's going to make a move going down here into the first corner, into La Source. He's going to get on the inside of Michael. Is Michael going to be rattled enough after that trouble? He is. He's going to have to give this position up. Go into P4. Alfonso gets around him. Meanwhile, Paul Darling has just checked out on the field. This is the final lap of this first race. Again, this is the first of 2 races today. We've got a 15-minute race followed by a 45-minute race. It looks like Paul Darling will likely cruise to a victory here in the first one. So let's run down the order of kind of who all we have here this morning, where they run right now. We've got Paul Darling, as you see, out front. He's followed by Chad Henson, Alfonso Suelto, Michael Parker, John Bates, Jonathan Crane, James Andrew returning into the series this year, Brian Sabelski, Billy Sigmund, David Nelson, and John Rowland was the driver that had a little bit of trouble at the beginning of this first race. Good news for John is he'll be able to jump right back in and get ready to go for the main feature for the 45-minute race. Well into Sector 3 now for Paul Darling. Let's watch them all come through here. I'll try to give you a preview of all the field as they come through here for the finish of the first race. 9 points will be awarded to the winner here in this first race, so significant. 9, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and then everyone else gets 1. So it looks like Paul Darling will take the win in round 1. He'll be followed by Chad Henson, Alfonso Suelto, Michael Parker. Here they come around. This is going to be P5, John Bates, Jonathan Crane, and James Andrew. Looks like James Andrew will get this position at the line. Brian Sabelski. Here comes Billy Sigmund still out on the track. And then we have one more car running, and that's going to be David Nelson. Let's stick with Billy as he gets to the finish here. Some of these cars were caught up in a lap 1 issue. And then here's David Nelson. David with a little bit of trouble. Finally, we'll get to the finish here. All right, and that brings everybody in for round 1. So this will give me an opportunity here to go ahead and just give everybody kind of a quick update on what the series is going to be like, what we can expect this season, kind of how things are going to run. So first and foremost, thanks for tuning in this morning if you're here to hang out with us a little bit, or if you end up catching us on YouTube after the fact, that is fine as well. This is David Anderson. I will give you kind of a quick update on what to expect here in this series. So this is the Porsche Cup 2024 season. The cars are on a little bit of a 5-minute break right now. There's a warm-up between the 2 rounds, so we'll get to watch them kind of get out and turn a few laps here to sort of shake things down between the first race and the second race. But format for the series, so we are going to have 8 rounds of racing. This is our official support series for the wildly popular Champion Motorsports iRacing Team Endurance Series. So this is our fixed setup racing, all about the drivers support series that runs the week before at the same venues that we run IRTES or iRacing Team Endurance Series in long format. Basically, the rounds 1 and 2 are today. That's what we're watching here at Spa in the GP pits. Rounds 3 and 4 will be at Hockenheim on February 25th. Rounds 5 and 6 will be at Le Mans, and those will be on April 14th. And then rounds 7 and 8 will be at Silverstone in on late April, April 21st, and should be a really, really good series to watch. We'll have the opportunity to get to know all the drivers, which will be really fun, and yeah, just really looking forward to it. The car's just taking a little bit of a 5-minute breather here right now to warm up. I am also doing a little bit of double duty as the steward for the race. So I'm going to say something to the drivers here real quick.
For a while there.
All right, guys, just a quick note. Normally, I won't come on since I'm broadcasting in these, but between the races, we've got a 5-minute warm up here just to allow you to reset. The next race here will be 45 minutes, and then when we get done, if you finish on the podium, drop by and chat with me on the broadcast. We'll do a little quick interview at the end of at the end of the race, optional of course. But good luck on the second race. Remember, both races count for points, and so congrats to everybody there in the first race to get to the finish line, and then the second race is the big one here. Good luck. All right, I am back here now, just exclusively focused on the broadcast. Again, 5 minutes between, so they're about a minute left here. But anyhow, ran through the schedule, so we'll basically have 8 rounds in the series. Rounds 1 and 2 here at Spa, rounds 3 and 4 at Hockenheim, 5 and 6 at Le Mans, and 7 and 8 at Silverstone. Also, for the question out on the chat, there will be a CMS IRTES practice here starting immediately after these races this morning. So, and that's something you can generally expect. So, these races will run the week before the main event for IRTES as our support series. And then always right after these races, we will have an open free practice one, is what we call it, for the iRacing Team Endurance Series race. So for IRTES, I want to say that the practice actually starts at 1700 GMT. So there might be a little bit of gap by the time we finish here and the time that the practice starts, but 100%. And for those of you that are planning to practice for IRTS and get out there with us, get out here in these with us as well. It's always more fun the more guys we have in the race, and so would love to get some more of you out here with us as the cars are gridding up here for uh, race 2. We'll have 45 minutes. I should be much more sorted here now, so should be able to give everyone a solid view of this race. Want to first and foremost thank all of the drivers and teams that are supporting the series. We are going to have a phenomenal trophy for this series that we're going to give away. I had a really, really cool one last year that we gave to Michael Parker for his championship. Uh, Miguel Colon won the championship the prior year to that. This is our third year now in a row to do Porsche Cup. And yeah, pretty excited about it. All right, here they go. We're going to roll off again, give you a quick starting order here. We're going to have Paul Darling on the pole, Chad Henson, Alfonso Suoto, Michael Parker, John Bates, James Andrew, Jonathan Crane, Brian Sabelski, Billy Sigmund, David Nelson, and John Rowland unfortunately did not take the green flag. I'm going to see if I can tell you what happened to John. I had some notes. Looks like he just had some trouble and got frustrated and kind of called it an early weekend. All right, here we go. Gonna get started here. And we're off and running. Race number 2, round 2 at Spa. Orderly down into turn 1. They had trouble in the heat race in turn 1. John Rowland was one of the cars that was in that trouble. But no issues this time. Everybody nice and orderly. Heading down to a Rouge. Alfonso Suoto really was on a charge in the first race, and he is all over Paul Darling here. Side by side behind him, Chad Henson gets around Michael Parker. We're going to keep focused here on the lead because we have got heavy pressure from Alfonso on Paul Darling. Alfonso going to make the move, and I think he's going to make it work. He does. We've got a new leader. Chad Henson pulling right up into this. I mean, really everybody very, very orderly and in this thing here early. 45 minutes, or 20 laps, whichever comes sooner. So that's what they're going to do here in round 2. Much more points are paid out. Let's get back on board with kind of the car we've chosen to ride on board with, Michael Parker, and just kind of watch him chase these leaders here. This is Chad Henson directly in front of him. Paul Darling in second, and then Alfonso Suoto up there. Let's just kind of let him go around the rest of this lap and just enjoy this here for a minute. All right, coming around to complete lap 1. Everybody's still in pretty good order. Alfonso starting to pull a little bit of a gap over Paul Darling. To help you equate some of these drivers to the teams that they run in IRTES, Alfonso runs for the Champion Motorsports Pro Team. They had a really good start to the season at Daytona, then a little bit of a setback in round 2. They'll be looking to bounce back here in round 3 at Spa. Don't think Alfonso will be in the car this round. That car will be driven, the GTP, by Cameron Barker and Thomas Fisher this round. But Alfonso, a new member of the Champion Motorsports team on the pro side, really welcome addition to both the team and the community as we ride along with him here a little bit from his roll bar. Paul Darling giving him chase. Of course, we all know Paul, been with CMS a long time. Great to see Paul in the series of battle here back behind Paul, though, that I got to go to. Michael Parker all over Chad Henson trying to get around him for P3. John Bates involved in this as well, so we're going to pay attention to this. I'll come back to the driver profiles here in just a minute, but we've got a race on our hands right here. Michael Parker all over Chad Henson. John Bates involved in this as well, so we've got a nice three-car battle here for that final spot on the podium. Chad holding on to it at the moment. This is our defending champion that we're looking at. It's the middle car of these three here. Kind of the Rothman's paint job. Chad gets a little wide. Michael Parker, defending champion, right behind him here. Love Michael's livery, actually. Michael running for Pneumatic Motorsports. Looks like he might have an opportunity to... I don't think he's going to have enough room to get down here and make this move. He's going to have to kind of fall in line all the way down here through a Rouge. And yeah, that is actually a Rothman's Porsche paint scheme. That's what I thought it looked like. Michael runs for Pneumatic Motorsports, as I mentioned. The defending series champion here in Porsche Cup 2023. Michael had a dominant season. Last time out. And he is going to be able to make the move here this time, I think. Here he goes, down through the Kimmel corner. Or to the end of the Kimmel straight, and he makes the move and moves into a solid P3. So now we'll see if Michael can give chase to Paul Darling just up ahead. And we'll go back and kind of started to mention Paul. Paul's actually kind of pulling back up on Alfonso here. So he's not letting him out of his sight. So we all know Paul, part of Satellite Racing. Two-time champions in the IRTES series. Great to see Paul here this morning. Paul, one of the just one of the best guys that we've got on and off the track as part of our community. Does a lot of real-world racing. Has had some really phenomenal accomplishments in iRacing. Part of that Satellite Racing stable that is always just so strong. One of the faster, more accomplished North American teams, and great to have him in the series. Let's use this as an opportunity here, though, now, while they're a little bit orderly here. We see the 3, 4, 5 is spread out a little bit. Let's just kind of run through the field. I'll kind of start here in the back. Jonathan Crane in P10. Jonathan, thanks for being here, coming out and supporting the series. Love just the all-purple paint scheme here for you. Don't know a whole lot about Jonathan. I think maybe a newer member to CMS. But certainly getting excited about the opportunity to get to know him, watch him race a little bit. And very competitive. This is a really, really tough field. We got a car coming into the pits here. Looks like Billy Sigmund is coming down pit road. I'll watch this here. Let's see if he's in for service. I think he might be. This could be intentional. Thinking that maybe a tire change, though. It's not what I would expect here. This could be an issue where this car yeah, this is an awfully long pit stop. So we'll have to come back and see what's going on with Billy. That moves Jonathan Crane up into 9th position. Billy with an issue. We'll let you know when he gets back out on the track. But that was definitely not a scheduled pit stop, I don't think. David Nelson is out here as well. We'll go up to David. David in P8 right now. David kind of a staple in this series. Someone that we've expected to see run now year in, year out in all the races. So we're right on board here with David. David, part of the Champion Motorsports Endurance team in IRTES. They are actually the points leaders in the main series right now in their Ferrari 296 GT3. And really, really cool story with that team doing so well. David, Kevin Ayers, some of the other guys driving that Ferrari. But David out here taking advantage of the opportunity to get out here, get some laps at Spa, get going early. I love that. So love the fact that he's out here, and expect him to have a good season. Brian Sabelski just ahead of him. These are two guys that I am always used to seeing race each other on the track. This is Brian and James Andrew just ahead of him. They had a lot of really good battles last season, and it looks like they're going to pick up right where they left off with just battle after battle for position. Both of these guys are just really, really solid sim racers. Don't think Brian is running in IRTES. He'll have to keep me honest on that. Looks like he's going to try to make a move on James here. They come down to La Source. And I'm now showing 3 cars have pitted. Jonathan Crane, David Nelson, Billy Sigmund have all been in the pits here. In fact, we've got some of them on the pit road now as we speak. While we stay with this battle, this is a really good battle that we've got. And Brian's going to look on the outside. James is going to cover him off on the inside. Don't think he's going to be able to make that move. Boy, what great racing here. So I'm thinking that the 3 cars who have already pitted are in for fuel. And knowing that they can't make it is kind of what I'm thinking. So maybe they're in just sort of grabbing fuel, set of tires, which seems odd to me to be doing that, but no telling what they're doing. They could have all had issues too. Jonathan Crane was one of them that was only in for just a couple of seconds. James Andrew now really trying to battle back here on Brian Sabelski. So this is going to be a really good battle to watch. Let's go on up a little bit further, though. This is Chad Henson. Chad's fallen back to 5th place. So a little bit of a slip backwards for Chad from where he started. Had a really, really good race in round 1. Currently running in P5. John Bates has been able to get around Chad. We haven't had the opportunity to talk about John yet, so good to see him out here. And then up to the podium, we've got, they're spread out a little bit here at the podium, at least from 3rd place on back to the leaders. But Michael Parker in 3rd, and then up front here, we've got a pretty close battle between these 2 guys, Paul Darling and Alfonso. So be interesting to kind of watch how this plays out. While they're continuing to be orderly, though, I want to go back here and see if David Nelson and Billy Sigmund, this is them here. Both of these cars, let's take a look at the cars. I'm not seeing any damage on these things. And didn't see anything that would lead me to think that either of them had a fast repair. So I think this might have just ended up being strategy for them to come in here. We'll have to see what they have to say after the race. Yeah, they're back out here on the track together, both of them with a pit stop. Now, Jonathan Crane, who's up a little further ahead of them, he was on pit road, and it was a really, really short stop. So I'm thinking he had a problem, came in for a fast repair. Meanwhile, back up front, so last time by, Alfonso ran a 2:22.1. Paul was actually a little bit quicker in his draft with a 2:21 flat, essentially. So smooth on the inputs here. See if we can't ride on board here with Paul Darling and just watch him take a lap around Spa here with us. Just let you enjoy him here. Watch this great driving as he goes around the track here. Paul always so smooth on the inputs. Go ahead and let you enjoy a full lap around the track here as they're kind of moving into Sector 3. So the drivers are using the baseline setup here today. That's what they're all using. It's a fixed setup. This is the Porsche 992 GT3 Cup car. All of the drivers with an identical setup. It's the baseline fixed setup. Everybody in identical equipment, identical setup. The fuel is set by the setup. So whether or not they've got to take a pit stop is all on whether or not they can manage the fuel and the pace that they need to, or whether or not they feel like they need to come in. Comes Michael Parker, P3. He's about 6.5 seconds behind. So that just kind of goes to show you the pace that Alfonso and Paul are setting is blistering, because Michael Parker is really terrific in these cars. Defending series champion that we talked about has just been phenomenal in these things. Won a bunch of races last season, and Michael's certainly a high rating driver and really, really quick, and he is, 6 seconds behind these leaders who are just setting a blistering pace. And it looks like we've got battle shaping up again here between Chad Ensign and John Bates. These two are really nose to tail as we zoom out here a little bit and watch them. Nice close battle between these two. They continue to be there. And then we've also got another pretty close, or we had a close battle. Brian Sabelski has fallen off. So something happened to Brian. It looks like he actually came to the pits. So I'm definitely thinking that there's a lot of drivers. So Brian was in this battle with James Andrew. James now is over here battling with Jonathan Crane. That's Jonathan Crane, who's actually kind of looks like he's running James down a little bit. But Brian Sabelski is the next car that we have seen come into the pits, and was in for 30 seconds on the lane, about 10 seconds in the box. So almost feels to me like maybe a fuel only or a 2-tire stop for Brian. He's back out there. Not quite halfway through the race right now. I think some of these guys probably thinking, hey, I can't make it This is our best battle on the track here at the moment. This Chad Henson, John Bates drive. This is Chad giving chase. Follow behind them a little bit. Watch them go down through the really famous set of corner here. The Rouge. Just amazing to watch these cars go through there. Here they come out of it. Got some nice speed cams kind of set up all around the track so you can kind of watch these guys go through certain areas of the track that we've picked. Michael Parker, John Bates, Chad Henson. You can just kind of watch them come straight at you here. It's really, really cool. Get back on board here with Chad Henson as you can see just really sort of almost wrestling the car here, trying to get just anything he can to get up there and kind of give John a race. These cars are, they're a handful to drive. Almost looks to me like Chad's a little better than John is right now, but John doing a really good job sort of just staying within himself. No change up front. Afonso Soto's actually built a little bit of a gap, about 1.5 seconds over Paul Darling. I'll let you know if anything changes there. This is the best battle on the track we have right now. Let's continue to kind of ride on board here with Chad till they get to the start-finish line and just watch a little of this. Seems like Chad's fighting the car a little bit. John pulled away from him there just a little bit. Chad might be pushing. Here they come around. Another, decent little battle shaping up back here, too. This is James Andrew Jonathan Crane for P6, P7. And Jonathan is a little bit quicker right now than James is. So this is on board with Andrew. None of these cars have been into the pits yet, so all the way back here to this purple machine of Jonathan Crane, we've not seen them hit the pit road yet. We have had 4 cars, though, come to the pits. Let's go back up, check out front, just make sure things are good. I think they are here. Yeah, a little bit of a gap built now from Afonso. So let's run down the field. We'll kind of start here with the leader, Afonso Soto. In the first race, he started kind of mid-pack or had some issues at the beginning, but came up, made a really exciting pass over Michael Parker that we saw at the end, and I think that kind of showed that he was going to have pace. And then in this race, he made pretty quick work of Paul Darling, and on lap 1 was able to get out in front of Paul and has just kind of pinned his ears back since then and checked out, and he has now built himself about a 2.8 second gap. Paul Darling in second place. Now, we have seen Paul be really, really good at saving fuel. We've seen him do this before where he's been able to stretch a tank of fuel. We'll have to wait and see what he does, but Paul could be intentionally dropping back here to see if he can't manage the fuel. And if he does that, Afonso probably needs to say, hey, I'm going to go. I'm going to go here, try to build as much gap as I can. It's such a long pit road here. We are using the GP pits configuration, so it's a little bit shorter pit road. You don't have to use the endurance pits. Come out all the way down here at the bottom of the hill. But nonetheless, I think if somebody's able to make it like a Paul Darling and everyone else has to pit, I don't see them catching the person who's able to stay out. Or see Michael Parker coming into the picture. It almost does look to me like Paul's trying to manage fuel, because now these guys are kind of starting to reel him in. Just a beautiful shot here at Spa, as you can see them all coming around. This is Parker in P3, running a really, really solid race. And by the way, Michael running, pace-wise, lap times, he's every bit as quick as the other guys, just doesn't have the track position. And, little bit every lap, a 10th here, 10th there, it adds up. He's, finds himself about 10 seconds behind the others. Here's John Bates and Chad Henson. This has been a really, really good battle. This continues to be the best battle on the track. These two in a really great race. Bates a little bit squirrely there as he goes over the rumble strip. Chad's all over him. I like Chad here. To me, he seems... he's a little quicker. John doing a really good job of sort of just defending. Chad's got a little red mist in him too right now, I think, as well, because he's dropped 3 positions from where he started in this race, so... just looking to make the move, Can he make it stick down here? We're going to come down here to the chicane. Boy, Chad wants around him in the worst of ways right now. Oh, and John's into the pits. Here he comes into the pits, so I think we're going to watch this pit stop. This is going to tell us a lot. Watch how long he's going to be here. See if he goes up for tires. That's a fuel-only stop. And back out on the track. Now, we've got another good race going on here that I was talking a little bit about earlier as well. This has become a really good race as well. This is Jonathan Crane and James Andrew. Let's ride on board with Jonathan. Take another lap around the track and just watch what happens here. See if he can't reel James in. Very smooth on the inputs. Having a really, really good race. This is the best battle on the track right now. And, Crane has been on pit road. I mentioned that earlier. He was on pit road for what was either a fast repair or just a really quick splash of fuel. So it'll be interesting to see. But we've now had everybody here from Jonathan back. Jonathan in this purple car here that we're watching has pitted. They have been on pit road. Whereas the rest of them here were with Michael Parker. They have not been on pit road. But we're going to stay with this battle. This is our best battle here. Taking a look at the lap times of these two, Andrew last time around ran a 2:25.068. Crane had a 2:25.190, so they're pretty even. And they've fallen a little off the pace. I don't know if that's just because they're sort of defending and racing and trying to attack each other. Whereas the leaders up ahead, Alfonso Soto ran a 2:22.295 last time. And everyone in the top four was in the 2:22s. So those guys just in a little bit different pace profile right now up front. But everybody is nice and spread out. Kind of pay a little bit of time of attention to our leader here for just a minute. Watch him around the track. And while we're doing this, give you an opportunity again for me to just thank a few people, tell you all about what we have going on here, what the plan is with the series. So again, good morning. This is David Anderson. Apologies for kind of getting online a little bit late and getting off to a bit of a rocky start, but I think that we are rocking and rolling now, be able to bring you the coverage. This is the Champion Motorsports, or CMSRacing.com, Porsche Cup Series. This is its third year running. Really, really excited for this 2024 season. This series is our official support series to the iRacing Team Endurance Series, also powered by Champion Motorsports. You can see the logo here on the left for the IRTES series, one of the larger, most popular team-based endurance series for multi-class racing on iRacing. That series runs on Sunday afternoons, UK time, kind of early to mid-morning in the US, and really, really, really fun series. So to just kind of breathe some realism and immersion into it, we also have this amazing support series. And we usually get about somewhere between 10 and 20 drivers out to these races. Would like to encourage everybody that may watch the video and come out and to get involved with us. And just noticed there in the chat, we've got somebody who saw the link on Twitter. Appreciate you coming out, MP, and checking this out with us. Be sure to check out cmsracing.com. And it's easy to get involved and get out here with us, too, if you'd like to race next time. But the way that we do the format of these races is for this season, it's a little bit of a new twist to the season. We'll have rounds, 2 rounds each at the tracks that we visit. So there will be a total of 8 rounds, and we will visit 4 tracks. Those are the same 4 tracks that will line up to the IRTES schedule. So today we're seeing rounds 1 and 2 here at Spa. And round 1 is a 15-minute sprint race, and then they do a 45-minute race, which we're a little bit, about 2/3 of the way through right now, as we ride on board here with some of the cars. Looks like Paul Darling coming in for a pit stop as we say that. So let's watch what Paul's going to do here. And Alfonso Soto's on pit road as well. So they are both leaders on pit road. We're going to cover these pit stops. Both of them decided they couldn't make it. Oh, and Alfonso has to back up in his pit. Will Darling get out ahead of him? Michael Parker is in as well, so this is all the leaders coming to pit road here. There's Darling. Soto had enough of a lead that he was able to get out ahead of Paul. Here they come down through a Rouge. Love this shot coming up through Radeon here. So a little bit of a bobble by Alfonso on the pit stop allowed Paul Darling to get right back up on him now. It's 1.5 second gap, whereas he had built that out to about a 4 or 5 second gap. Had he not done that, he was going to lose the lead. And now everybody has come to pit road at this point in time. So things heating up here again. These are our leaders, first and second place. Let's kind of go down the field. Paul Darling right behind Alfonso Soto. A little bit further back. He's actually about 10 seconds back. This is Michael Parker. We ride on board with Michael. And Michael has about a 5 second lead to this gentleman, Chad Henson. Chad Henson has John Bates all over him. This is a race we've been watching quite a bit today, and Chad was stuck behind John, but on the pit sequence was able to get out ahead of him. He had a about a 1 second faster pit stop when we total up his lane and box time than John did, and that allowed Henson to get out front here and get back into 4th place. He'll be happy with that because he was already started in 3rd and had dropped a couple of positions in the race down to 5th. So Chad's going to be happy to be out in front of John. I think Chad should set sail here. I believe he was just a little bit quicker than John overall, consistency-wise. But we'll see. Maybe John can kind of reel him back in. But this is P4 and P5. If we go back to P6, we've got a really good battle here going. And now it's kind of gotten hot and heavy again after the pit stops. Brian Sabelski came in early, and he was able to undercut James Andrew and Jonathan Crane. So these guys now, you could kind of throw a blanket under them. This is sort of the closest race amongst multiple competitors. You can see all 3 cars here together. And then a little bit further back from them, we have David Nelson, and then unfortunately Billy Sigmund and John Rowland both had to retire from the race. So battles are heating up. We've got about 4 or 5 laps here left in the race, or a little less than, a little over 10 minutes actually. So yeah, going to be fun to watch the end of the. Oh, Brian Sabelski goes deep. James Andrew goes deep as well, and Jonathan Crane around. Oh, Jonathan. Jonathan had every opportunity there. Oh, had every opportunity to be the one to benefit from that, and he just couldn't hold on to it. Just saw it happening right in front of him, got excited about it, and just couldn't hold on to it. So unfortunate for Jonathan Crane. Unfortunate that we had to catch that on camera for him. But he'll gather it back up and keep going while we continue to watch these two. Still pretty close race up front here. This is Darling giving chase to our leader, Alfonso. I'm going to get back in Paul's cockpit again and just kind of watch him go around. See if he can make anything on this. He's got it down to about 1.4 seconds. He was a little faster than Alfonso was, but I just don't know if he's going to be able to have anything for him here. They're so equal. Oh, a little bit of scrape there on those rumble strips. So yeah, before we kind of got hot and heavy with the pit stops and the battles going, I was talking a little bit about the series, and so I'll just kind of wrap up on that. So again, the official support series, we support IRTES. So for instance, next week we will have the big IRTES race here at Spa. It'll be probably about a 50-car grid, multi-class, but this weekend this is an opportunity for guys to get out of the support series, to get some experience on the track, to run in these fixed setup races. I mentioned that before. Everything here is fixed setup. We're using the baseline setup, and they're out here with the opportunity to kind of hone their racecraft, enjoy driving these cup cars, and just put on a great show for us. Series is brought to you directly by Champion Motorsports this year. We do not yet have a title sponsor for the series, which is okay. Hopefully we'll get one. If there's anybody out there that would like to sponsor the series, let us know. We've got great partners here at CMS, of course, and they do such a great set of things for us. But bringing this one to you kind of first party this year, there's a really, really nice trophy that we have up for grabs for the competitors this season. And as I'm talking about this, I think Paul Darling making a little bit of a dent into Alfonso's lead here. Now, Alfonso could be managing the gap, just making sure he stays within himself here, but he definitely is not going to be able to rest. Paul Darling actually has the fastest lap of the race, and just set that lap actually not too long ago. So as far as Champion Motorsports goes, for anybody that may tune in and watch this the first time, we are a large sim racing community since 1999. We have a whole bunch of different sim racing options for you. Do a lot with iRacing, a lot with R Factor 2. We do a lot with Assetto Corsa Competizione. We run things like Automobilista 2, the EAWRC Rally. We have a really, really cool immersive EAWRC Rally series that's going on right now, brought to you by our team using the clubs feature. That's something that I've been personally really, really excited about. Oh, Paul Darling gets really, really loose there. He's going to lose some time there. Boy, that one bobble that he just made there coming out of the source is going to be enough to let Soto stretch that gap to over 3 seconds again, and that is probably going to be the difference here now of what he needed to get this thing done. So, but anyhow, that's a little bit about the series, a little bit about what we're doing. We'll have a points championship. We'll follow all this, and just super excited to bring it to you. So, as we kind of wind down here, last couple of laps, let's run through the field. We're going to kind of P11 was John Rowland, P10 Billy Sigmund. Both of those cars, unfortunately, have had to retire. We ride along here with David Nelson from the Champion Motorsports Endurance team. Shout out to David. He's out here having a good time. Hasn't had the race that he wanted to have in 9th position, but still out here sort of getting the points, enjoying the car, and having fun nonetheless. Jonathan Crane in 8th position. We saw Jonathan have some really, really good stuff going on, and just fell a little bit short of capitalizing on opportunity with these two guys, which, by the way, these two are racing their butts off here. This is Brian Sabelski. James Andrew has managed to get around him again now, and so this is 6th and 7th position here, and this is definitely our best battle on the track, certainly. In fact, I think I'm going to have to just stick with this here for a minute. Let's just watch it, enjoy it. Brian giving chase to James. Two real veterans. This is Can-Am Racing. That's Brian's team. And SimHQ Motorsports, one of the staples of the sim racing community, with team principal James Andrew in the car here. Two real good, crafty sim racers here. Brian can drive about anything, as can James. What a battle these two are putting on. We're going to briefly leave it just to show you P5, white flag, and on pit road is Chad Henson. Looks like he's doing a drive-through penalty. That's John Bates. Chad Henson in 4th. Meanwhile, look, Sabelski here taking the white flag has gotten around James Andrew. White flag here. I'm gonna stick with that as much as I can. I'm gonna pay attention to my leader here just a little bit. We'll let you kind of see them cross the line. This is Alfonso Suelto. Make sure nothing happens there. But we're going to come back here. Brian Sabelski, James Andrew. Here they are, going down to a Rouge. Wow, 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 wow. James needs to make a move. He's going to need to make it soon. Oh, James with a bobble, and he slows down there. Let's go check our leader again. All clean up here on at the front. About a 4-second gap for Alfonso Soto. Here's our other two. James has fallen back a little bit now. So I think that's going to allow me to just sort of get back here on the finish here. Let's watch the finish up front. We'll focus here first, then we'll call all the cars in. All right, Alfonso will take the win. Checkered flag. Congratulations to him. Terrific win in the race. Here comes Paul Darling in second position. Third position coming around the final quarter is Michael Parker to complete our podium. Great run for Michael. Chad Henson coming around the final everyone. As well.
Chris, Paul as well.
John Bates. Here comes John. And here they come. Here's Sabelski. He was able to stretch it out a little bit. Oh, Sabelski's got a problem. He's got a problem. Can James get around him? Wow, these two. Good Lord. Brian's able to hang on. James Andrew in P7. Here comes Jonathan Crane in 8th. And then coming around the last sector here, a little bit of a windshield wiper going. I think it's maybe just to clear some debris here from David Nelson, but let's watch him finish the race here. Let David bring it home for us. And we'll have David come around. He'll be the last car to take the checker. Nice run for him. Top 10 finish. And what a terrific race here, or set of races to get us started at Spa. Really, 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 really excited about it. Wow, just terrific. Just a terrific way to start the season. Really, really excited to do this one, and what just a terrific opportunity to bring this to you. So, all right, I'm going to bring in some guys for some interviews. I'm going to go grab Michael Parker first. He's here for the podium. We'll bring him in, chat with him here for just a second, and see who we can talk to. Michael, you got a copy?
Hey, yeah.
Yeah.
Copy, David.
Hey, good morning to you, and welcome to the 2024 P Cup Series. Started it off with a podium. Tell me how you feeling.
Definitely, I'm pretty good. Definitely wish I had a little more pace in the main race, the feature race, but yeah, I didn't spend enough time practicing. I'm sure these Alfonso and Paul did. So, but yeah, I think the initial heat race, being at random, was pretty interesting. Trying to get around Chad the entire race was definitely exciting. He defended well though, but I feel like if I was ahead of him, I might have had a little bit of a better jump in the feature race.
Yeah, that's going to make things a little bit interesting with the way that it's going to do that there. You know, and I'm still learning a little bit about it myself, but I think it will use a little bit of sort of a randomness to get you guys started in the first race, which will make it a little bit, interesting. And then when you start the second race, you'll be starting from the position where you finished in the heat race. Definitely going to make for some exciting times for sure.
Oh yeah, I definitely think it's a pretty cool concept. I mean, it will be random, so I think this time Paul was a little bit further up in the heat race, so he was able to gain some time. But Afonso, I mean, both of their pace was still phenomenal. So um, yeah, it would have been difficult to keep them in the feature race anyway. But yeah, I didn't really play around with the brake bias too much. Considering I didn't practice that much beforehand. But yeah, I felt a little bit of understeer pretty much the entire race. So it was like steering the car with the brake more often. But yeah, I
Hmm.
didn't play around with the bias at all.
Well, and you knew going into the feature, I'm sure that everybody had to make a trip down pit road. So that was another thing. When you did that, what sort of strategy? Curious what your thoughts were and how you approached the pit stop.
Yeah, just starting the race, I knew the fuel rate wasn't going to be enough to save during the race. I definitely saw Paul kind of drop off toward the end of his first stint because I knew he was trying to save, and I think that jumped him a second or two in the pits to Afonso. But I was so far back it wouldn't have mattered. So I was just kind of gun ho, just hoping both of them would have exceeded the incident limit. That was the only thing I was hoping for.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'll tell you what, Michael, it's going to be really fun to have you out here to watch you again. I know you're going to be making a big push for that trophy. Really, even with as little practice as you got, I think a solid start to the season. You certainly didn't hurt yourself. You're going to be right in it. And certainly once we total up the points from both the 15-minute race and the 45-minute race, I'm sure you're going to be pretty high up there. And you'll have 6 more rounds. This was a little bit of an interesting weekend as we were all sort of combating with the 24 Hours of Daytona, which I know a lot of us want to go finish watching, myself included. But hopefully we'll have an even bigger field next time. That'll give you guys some additional points opportunities to spread the field out, and you can go for that second trophy.
Oh yeah, that's the goal. Definitely, I'm definitely gonna hit up the rest of this 24-hour race. It was exciting last night. So yeah, thanks to Champion Motorsport and thanks for putting this on, David.
All right, take care, Michael. Have a good day, and congratulations on the podium today.
All right, thank you. Take care.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Afonso, do you have a copy?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hey, congratulations on the win. David here. Proud of you there. I think that is your first win, if I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken, here at
yeah,
Champion
it's my first one.
Motorsports. Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
So, yeah, tell me about it. Tell me about what happened and kind of what your approach was. You looks like you had to start a little further back in the heat race, and just yeah, what were things like from your view?
In the heat race, it was quite funny actually because I was having lunch, and I looked at the clock and I realized, oh shit, the race is about to start. So I raced to the sim and I missed it by a second, literally a second. So I had to start from the pits and then made my way through the field that I was sketching, but the 15 minutes weren't enough for me to get up there. So in the feature race, I was aggressive from the start, trying to pass Chad uh, in T1, which I did, and then I followed Paul, and he made a mistake going into no name, and I overtook him there, and then he was just glued to my bumper
Hmm.
the whole race, which um, wasn't a nice experience, but it was definitely fun. Um, and he made a couple of mistakes. I made a couple of mistakes, and um, yeah, I made a huge mistake going into the pits. I locked up massively, and I destroyed the front right, which I finished with 31%, which is never good. Because
Wow.
I was struggling a lot on these last two laps because of the tires. So yeah, it was fun. I got P1. I think that's P1 in the championship as well. So yeah, going into the next round, trying to maintain this lead.
Yeah, well, congratulations. You know, this is a really, really fun series. This was a little bit of a unique weekend because we were sort of conflicting, if you will, with the 24 Hours of Daytona race, which I know a lot of people are watching on TV and want to catch the last couple hours of, myself included. But I think we'll see even, you know, a little bit bigger field when we get to Hockenheim. But you certainly, you know, the way I look at it, Afonso, is all the races count the same. You are out front
Yeah.
to start and the advantage is to you. It's going to be really fun to watch you this season. We're going to have an amazing trophy for the winner, and I think if you stick with it and drive like you did today, you're going to have a great shot at putting your name on that thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, thanks for coming by. We're excited to have you at Champion Motorsports. I also talked a little bit on the broadcast about how you're racing for the Champion Motorsports Pro Team and the iRacing Team Endurance Series, and just terrific to have you part of the community. And congratulations today on the win. Good to see you get your first win here in the community.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me.
You bet. Have a good rest of the day, and we'll see you at Hockenheim.
Yeah, you too. See you.
All right. I'm going to see if I can't bring in a couple of guys here. Brian, James, did one or both of you have a copy? You are on the broadcast.
Yes, sir.
Gosh, you two, I just can't seem to separate you out there, so I had to bring you in here and let you talk about it.
Well, it was a good race. I kept locking up going down the bus stop, like just barely, and I kept letting kind of James inch back closer to me. And I was just like, all right, well, you know, my thought was if he gets by me, you know, don't worry about it. It's a long race. Just kind of manage things, and you know, you'll have opportunities. Either James will make a mistake, or there'll be a good run, and you know, that'll work. So this is kind of the thinking the long game here, and I went in the pits a little early because I thought, okay, you know, if I tuck up behind him and I go at the same time, I'm going to come out behind him. So I thought maybe I can try and undercut and see if that that had an advantage. I knew when the window was going to open up for that, and I knew if I just saved my tires, maybe I'd have a shot at it.
Yeah, and Brian, I think it did. I think it did help you a little bit there with the undercut today, and it was just phenomenal to see both of you guys kind of going back and forth like that. And you know, James, if you're there, you'll have to tell me. I mean, this is not new, right? I've seen the two of you, I think. Maybe you can validate this for me, James, but you guys have been kind of attached to each other in a few races dating back to last season.
I said something in the Discord the other day. Brian appeared in the chat room or something, and I said, like, "Oh, Brian is one of my favorite people," even though I don't actually know him very well, because we are seemingly often at the same level and fighting, whether it's an official race or a league race. If we're together, then I know that he's a marker that I can use for the pace that I should be putting in. And today, like I said, he early on he missed a few break points into the last chicane, and I'm thinking, okay, yeah, I can just bide my time here today. But then, of course, Brian pulls himself together, has a brilliant idea with the pits, and absolutely caught me out when he nipped ahead of me as I left the pits, and I thought, no idea how that happened. He'd just been doing his standard stuff, and then I got a call that my tyres were wearing out that I wasn't expecting, and it was all I could do just to keep him in sight at that point. So great fun, and yeah, he's pulled another little genius race there today. Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, I'm going back from memory with you guys. It seems like I remember in particular with the two of you last year, maybe at Twin Wing Motegi, y'all had a really, really good battle, and it was.
How do you remember? I can't even remember a race I did yesterday, let alone a specific event from. No.
Well, you put on just such a good show. It's just amazing to see you. So, Brian, for you, tell me about the tires. We had Afonso in here a moment ago, the winner, and he definitely said the tire wear, it was hot out there, kind of a mid-afternoon track, definitely different than what we're going to see in IRTES with the race being at night, but he said he was down to 31%. How were the tires looking for you, Brian?
Yeah, I was at 39. Well, it didn't help. They had a couple lockups. That'll wear, you know, that wears down a little bit too. Every time you lock one of those up, you get a little percentage point taken off for that. So I probably, even if I had locked it up, would have been low 40s. You could definitely feel it in some of the faster corners in Blanchemont, especially toward the end of the race, and Puhan as well. You could kind of feel the car like it didn't want to turn quite so well, and you're kind of like, okay, yeah, that right front's wearing down a little bit, so you got to adjust your speed through there, and when you lift off to get through the corner to get the car to rotate, and it does make you a little bit slower, but if you do it right,
Oh,
you
I'll
don't
tell
lose
you,
as much time as you think you do.
I lost so much time. I was berating myself through the second half of the race. I kept on fiddling with the brake bias and not trusting the effects of it, and then sort of over adjusting or just changing it back and realizing no, it was right the first, and constantly, and then catching myself out so many times with the breaking points in the second half of the race, and then so I eventually told myself like just stop fiddling with it, leave it as it is, drive the car, concentrate on your breaking points, and do
And there you
that.
go. Well, so
Yeah.
James, last question for you, maybe. We heard what Brian did with the undercut strategy on the fuel. What was your plan? And I'm sure you knew you were going to have to pit for gas. Did
I
you
did
have a
zero
plan?
testing.
Okay.
Zero testing for this race. I had no time this week that I wasn't just exhausted. Fixed setup helps, so don't have to think. So I came in to practice today at the session today and got used to the car, and where I could sort of gain a little bit of time on the lap compared to other people, but you lose it in other places.
Mm-hmm.
But no, apart from the fact that my JRT software was quite clearly telling me that I'd need to have a pit stop somewhere, I didn't put any strategy in. Actually, no, I tell a lie. During the race, as I was coming towards the pit stops, Jonathan was pushing me hard all the time,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, I must not pit before him. I must hold on to track position because it's so hard to make a pass sometimes with these cars. And he was so fast through Blanchimont as well, not the Blanchimont, through Radion. And so I was just hoping to stay ahead until the pit stops there.
Mm-hmm.
And then that was the only strategy. And then I came out with the pit stop with Brian ahead of me, and it was like, he's been thinking better than I have. Great, okay.
Brian's got a way about doing that. Well, guys, great talking to you both. I'll let you go here, but great watching you out there. We're going to really enjoy watching you both in the season, and I can't wait to see you both out at Hockenheim. Congrats on the good finishes today.
Thanks, David. Good race, James.
Take care, gentlemen. All right, so we'll go ahead and wrap up here. This is Dave Anderson. Really, really enjoyed bringing the race to you all this morning. Again, a little bit of apologies for the bumpiness at the beginning, just sort of getting into a new season, me kind of getting back in the swing of things as far as the all the technical aspects go, and but I think in the end we had a really, really good show. So again, congratulations to Alfonso Soto for the win here in the main event at Spa. Congrats to Paul Darling on winning the first race of the morning, the heat race we call it. Michael Parker ended up in third position in the main race on the podium. Chad Henson fourth, John Bates fifth, Brian Sobelski sixth, James Andrews seventh, Jonathan Crane eighth, David Nelson ninth, Billy Sigmund 10th, John Rowland 11th, and just a good start to the season. Know that we had maybe a little bit smaller field than we might normally, just with the 24 hours of Daytona and a couple hours left in that race. So I know we'll all want to go get into that. So we'll get this uploaded. We'll get the points uploaded as well. And we look forward to being back here with the series again for rounds 3 and 4, which will be on February 25th at Hockenheim. And until then, thank you all so much for tuning in. We'll get this uploaded to YouTube as well. Thanks for supporting Champion Motorsports, and we'll see you out on the track.